Parkway Diner on this Monday, 23rd of July, the year of our Lord 2024. And before everything else, I just want to give a shout out. Free Steve Bannon. Enough with the nonsense. He's making the most of his time in prison, of that I can be sure. But this is a grave and grotesque injustice. Free Steve Bannon. Now, meantime, remember to go to our channel, yankeet.news, like, subscribe, donate, buy our stuff, and tell everybody. Remember Sally Fink's site, the Continental Tribune, THECTLTRIBUNE.com. Like, subscribe, donate, and tell the universe. And in the meantime, don't forget Bob McGuffey for Congress. Donate, 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 and help him out. You know, he's, as far as I'm concerned, in the battle for his life here with this primary. All this hard work, I would be ashamed to see it go to somebody other than him, without saying anything else on the subject. Okay, the theme for today is the epic battle between truth and the lies. Now, I've talked before about agnotology, and I'll just mention it again briefly. Agnotology is the science of false knowledge, all right? It's, I'll say it's a poorly developed field, but when you dip into it, it's shocking what you'll learn about how false knowledge is generated. Okay, we also want to note in passing, sadly, Lou Dobbs, who passed away a few days ago. This is a man who was instrumental in helping to raise conservative consciousness in this country. And even though he was done a dirty by Fox News, he's continued to still have impact up to the last. So we pray in all things for Lou Dobbs, that you may find your way into God's heart. Yeah. Now, meantime, back on the planet Earth, we have issues, real issues. By the way, dear viewers, I would like to encourage you to stay through this broadcast as long as you can. If I could find it, I don't think I got it. But look, I'm just going to do quickly rattle these off. So we're talking about the Democrats are drawing wagons around Harris. I'm going to mention the fact that the shoreline of Connecticut is getting ready to be the recipient of huge amounts of broken wind turbines ending up on the shore, and that it's a good thing, all right, but it's a worrisome thing. The way higher education is handled in Connecticut just seems to be a very uncertain process. We've had the consolidation of the community colleges into this one system. It's a cost-cutting move. My jury is still out on it. I'll leave it at that. Meantime, we do have some notes on today's testimony by Director CHEATLE for the Secret Service. Many people are really disgusted with the way she presented herself, and I'm in agreement. I listened to her testimony. I listened to some parts twice. We have the clip of Representative, I believe, Nancy Mace, who was very angry with Director CHEATLE because she was not very forthcoming. In fact, all she could do was talk about, we're working on it, I'll get back to you, and I'm not sure of this. And it was frustrating people terribly. But for me and others, the takeaway is that the shooter visited the rally site more than the director did. That should tell you something. And I mean, I'm not going to try and list the litany here, but it's disgusting how she has not presented herself in a way that would persuade anybody that she knows what she's doing. So I believe it was Mr. Fallon from Texas who at the end of his comments said, you need to be fired. You need to be fired right now, right here. And of course she wasn't budging. And it just, you know what? I'm going to say it. This is an example of what DEI gets you, all right? You get people who are not only not qualified to do the job, but they don't have the maturity and the moral sensibility to do the right thing in their job, let alone knowing what they're doing. So they lack knowledge and they lack common sense. So the way she conducted herself was Exhibit A, as far as I'm concerned.
Nancy Mace, South Carolina.
Correct. Yeah,
Yes.
she was. Yeah, she got a little carried away. I think she didn't have to do that, but the shock value was it was. All right, but let's move on to the next part here quickly. All right, the big news, right? Biden quits. So now the Democrat Party is all a turmoil here about what's going to happen next. So they still like to throw out the term open convention, but you can see that the fix is already in for Kamala Harris. Now, I just want to add the obvious, ladies and gentlemen. How much money was that? You remember, Alan? How much money in their war chest? Eric, Mike, anybody? $200 million. Okay, $200 million, thereabouts. That was money limited for use by Biden and Harris with the Biden-Harris campaign. So if it's somebody other than Harris who's campaigning, no one can touch that $200 million. So what do you think? What do you think? I mean, it's great. They say that, Kamala raised $50 million today? Yeah, well, we'll see how far that gets. Because the other dirty truth that people aren't talking about is the internal polling for the Democrats says disaster. Disaster. The public polls do not tell the truth at all. So in any event, we've included here a link to what I call the chosen narrative, which is the way in which they have preferred to create this false story over what happened over the weekend with respect to Biden. And, you know, look, we put up a clip from Newsmax a few days ago. And when was it?
A week ago.
A week? It was that long ago?
7 days, yeah.
What? Wow. Okay, so 7 days ago, according to Eric, because he sent it to me, we put up this clip about how, where Newsmax was announcing, yep, Biden's going to resign. Yeah, you can be sure that it shocked everybody. And so, Eric, it was, I believe in the first, what should we say, 24 hours, 300, 500 likes, but we are now at what?
12,000 views.
12, in a week, this went from several hundred to 12,000 views. And what's happened? He's resigned. Need I say more? Okay, so if that's the case, if you want to learn about how the deep state develops very fine narratives, completely riddled with beautifully created lies that would make any novelist feel proud of himself, right here. And the link is up. Go have a look. Meantime, the other point has been made. It's been made on just, so this one is from the Jerusalem Post, and the point is the same. For how long did Biden's inner circle lie to the media and to the country about Biden's condition? For how long? Okay? Ridiculous. Meantime, so I don't know if you want to weigh in on this here, Alan, you can chime in. Okay, so here it is. The question for you is, which one is Biden's real signature? You would be correct, sir. That would be this one. This is his. The problem is this signature here showed up on the executive order where he said, I'm out.
It also wasn't on anybody's stationery. It was on plain paper.
Oh, plain paper? Let's see here. Let me double, I don't know if I
Probably
can.
signed it.
Yeah, let me check that. Yeah, look at that. Holy crap. But it does say the White House on it. So,
Have there
yes, no, it's not.
have there been any suggestions as to
Who did it?
who may have signed?
Obviously, someone in the staff who thought that they could fool people, because it's not even close. I mean, when you look at it, the R's are so different, the B's very different. One is underlined and the other is not.
Right.
One says junior and the other does not. What is this? All right, that's who you have working for you in the Democrat Party. Just wanted to throw that in there. Okay, now, related to this is the other key point, all right? So, if we're,
Does he know he stepped down?
that's, yeah,
If the letter
yeah,
was forged, does he know?
that's a fair question. So Alan's asking if the letter was forged, does Biden know that he stepped down? Well, we've been having trouble finding it, old Joe. So We'll let you know when we get in touch with them. So the other part of this now, just to say it, this is the most undemocratic thing we've seen that's being done by, wait for it, Democrats.
Oh, I think it was also worth mentioning
Yeah.
that Alex Soros has endorsed Kamala Harris.
Well, yeah, but everybody, those that we think of as the Democrat establishment are very quickly gathering around Kamala Harris. You know, Ned Lamont came out on NBC News, and he's endorsed Kamala. Blumenthal said she's a great choice. I mean, come on. So, for some reason...
because she ticks the politically correct boxes of being, quote, black and, quote, a woman.
That might be part of it.
Do you think that that's...
There's another part, though, and that is that when you look at all the other candidates, problems, and more problems, okay?
Right.
So she's the best of all the bad choices, is what it can, at least that's how I see it. All right, meantime, dig it. The Secret Service skipped the security briefing. Oops. How did that happen? Let me just read the first paragraph quickly. Secret Service failed to undertake critical security measures and deprived Donald Trump of ample protection ahead of the attempted assassination against the former president. New information disclosed by congressional members shows. Okay, now one of the things that went on at the security briefing was a discussion about what to do with drones. Well, gee, I guess if they missed that security meeting, they sort of missed on putting up a drone or two. Yeah, this is just one more pebble on the pile, as far as I'm concerned, with respect to the all right, you know what? I don't know if maybe this is the moment because I'm thinking about it, so I'm going there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to break this down into two parts for you, okay? The first part is, I want to set this up by telling you that when we had our planning for the D-Day invasion, there was no confusion. You had the planners and the plan, all right? The Allies were making the plan, okay? And the plan was for the military. Here we have a different problem. The planners have been separated from the plan so that we don't find out who they are. So let me just create one scenario for you. The planners could be, let me think, I don't know, maybe the CIA. Okay? They know how to do assassinations, right? But then the plan gets passed to, I'll just pick one randomly. How about the Department of Homeland Security? Since they seem to be handling the HSI division that provided the temps for the secret security agents and the Secret Service. Okay, so the point is you can create a system here where you're dividing up all the components of your plan such that the planners and the plan are separated from each other, which can lead you to a whole other set of problems, and that's for later. But I want you to think about that. Meantime, 3 questions for Kim Cheeto. Why was the president allowed to take the stage even after law enforcement flagged the suspicious behavior of Thomas Matthews Crooks at least 30 minutes before the event? Okay, that question was raised in the hearing today, this disgusting hearing, which I regard as a waste of time, but they did it. The second question is, why didn't the Secret Service utilize air cover in the form of drones? And third, why did agents fail to install a barrier between the vulnerable high site where Crooks took position and the stage? Okay, these are just 3 of many legitimate questions that all point to this quote failure. And again, I feel like I have to apologize, but there's another way to think about this, okay? I'm thinking about this, maybe, hold on. All right, you have what we will call passive assassination and active assassination. Passive assassination is where you do things like compromise the capabilities and resources needed to keep somebody safe. You haven't committed an assassination, but you've enabled an assassination. passive. And active, of course, is when you have the people shooting at the intended target. So that's easy to understand. So they keep talking about incompetence. They keep talking about all these mistakes. They keep talking about poor planning and all this stuff. I'm sorry, I'm going there. What if it was intentional? We've had a few people talking about that. What if it was intentional?
I think the other component of that, and this was brought up by one of the congressmen or women that were questioning CHEATLE, is they've had absolutely no press briefings at all since the assassination attempt. In other words, none of the State Department, none of the Homeland Security.
That's because they don't want to say anything. They don't.
No, but right. But what I'm saying is that people, like when you look at local municipalities, where they have like a bank was robbed, or somebody was hit by a car, or there was a jewelry store that was robbed, you usually have the police come out in front of the cameras like they do. I don't know, like in Florida, there's a guy there. The police department's really active down there, and they come out in front of the cameras and they give people updates as to, like, this is what happened, this is what we know so far, et cetera, and so forth.
Well, just for the moment, and here I'm going to tap Alan's vast memory stores. Is that what happened in Las Vegas? You know, when you think back on what happened in Las Vegas,
where the law enforcement
was there an immediate press conference right after everything happened?
I would say within a couple of hours there was.
There was. So we think there was. I'm not so sure. And, okay, it would have been local law enforcement, but you wouldn't have heard anything from the feds. Not a word. Nope. All right. Anyway, let's not digress too much on this. We want to keep on the keep on here. Okay. Well, you know, poor Josh Hawley. He's trying to do the best he can. So as you may or may not know, he actually went to the site. He did something that Director Cheeto didn't do. He actually went to the site to see and understand what happened. Of course, what happens when he shows up? The FBI tries to throw him out. You know, I'm sure the FBI just does not appreciate it when you're interrupting them when they're busy scrubbing evidence. You shouldn't do that, Senator Hawley. Anyway, so he wrote a little letter to the Honorable Alejandro Mayorkas with several questions. Now, I want to point out that these questions constitute the first batch of questions that are coming from the whistleblowers that have been showing up in his office, Senator Johnson's office, and I think Representative Comer's office. Okay, first, how did the DHS determine to staff the event, including any decision to rely on state or local officials? Number two, what percentage of the Department of Homeland Security agents at the event were from HSI rather than USSS? Okay, there's no nice way to put it. The people who were on loan from HSI, and I still don't know what the acronym stands for.
Homeland Security Investigations.
Okay, okay, thank you. All right. These people were so bad. They were so bad, all right? You want to remember the woman who tried to holster her gun 5 times? That person? Yeah, I think she was from HSI. The one who hid behind the barrier after the shots happened? Yeah, ridiculous. Anyway, were the HSI agents properly trained in staffing these types of events? Did gaps exist in the security perimeter? 5, were agents appropriately stationed around the podium? 6, were the standard protocols followed for issuing designated pins to vetted personnel? And how long did agents physically spend on the ground surveying the site before the event? Did any paperwork obligations prevent a longer and more robust site survey? So let me tell you folks, rest assured that these are what they call loaded questions, all right? The whistleblowers know exactly which questions to ask. That's these, all right? Meantime, Janet DePaolo-Tano, a huge Trump hater, has been appointed to the so-called Independent Review Board that will be looking into these matters. So I just wanted to bring her up. Changing subject now, abortion. There are two stories, unrelated, but they seem to be pointing in the same direction. Despite the media having you think that pro-life people are on the defensive, we're seeing evidence that might be otherwise. So there are pro-abortion candidates around the country who are losing, and Colorado Planned Parenthood plans to close because it can't get medical staff. Okay, Colorado's a blue state. They allow abortion, and they can't get people to perform abortions? Gee, I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is. All right, a totally different subject, but this is an echo, okay? This is an echo of what has happened since America left Afghanistan. Apparently, we have $293 million in USA aid sitting around unused. However, according to some maneuverings with international law, the Taliban may be able to get their hands on that $293 million. It's a little bit up in the air. We put up the link here. Definitely go look at it. But this is just one more example of how incomprehensibly incompetent the Biden administration has been. Now, you remember that there was the CrowdStrike breakdown, I guess, from the problem with the patch for the various systems around the world. So guess what? Microsoft lays off DEI team just days after a global IT outage. In other words, they quickly found out that some of those DEI hires probably only contributed to the problem after the outage happened. They had no idea what to do or how to handle it. And it's the usual, call it corporate speak. True systems change work associated with DEI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020, says the team leader for Microsoft. Don't you love it? All right, on a scientific note, I find this kind of cool. We have learned that when some parts of your brain are asleep, other parts are awake, and they'll take turns. So a part that's awake goes to sleep, the other part that was asleep goes awake, and it just keeps shifting around like that. I mean, the things about the brain that we don't know are just astonishing, and this is just one more tidbit of something we've just learned. Okay, let's shift to the next lovely spot in the world, China. Now, I just want to quickly say, it's my humble opinion, all right, that people trash China too much when it comes to how they handle their economy. They get into trouble, but you know what? They manage to get out of it each time. So you can say all you want about their real estate market, but we'll see. So this one is now that, quote, unexpectedly, China has cut its interest rates in order to try and stimulate the economy. So that's pretty good. And anyway, the link is there. I don't have much to say about it. Just want to bring it to your attention. Conscription in Europe because of Russia, okay? It's going to increase. That's the message here for this article. Europe turns to conscription as the threat of wider war with Russia grows. In particular, Poland is confronted with a very delicate moment right now, okay? They've agreed to give $3 billion to Ukraine, and they don't have any stipulations. If you want to use these weapons in Ukraine, fine. In Crimea, fine. You want to shoot onto Russian territory, fine. Okay. I don't see how Russia is going to remain silent about this. There will be a response. Whatever it is, I don't know. But one of the other side effects is now all these other European countries are going to start pushing to get more men into the military. And then the last thing I want to bring up here, in our continuing January 6th coverage, you want to know someone who has not been discussed as a part of what happened on January 6th? General Milley, right? General, hey, you Chinese guys, you want to know when you're going to get attacked by nuclear missiles? Don't worry, I'll give you a call, Milley. Yeah, had a role in this. And it's in this article here. Definitely go read it. Definitely go read it. On that happy note, folks, thanks a lot. See you next week.